Welcome to the show, y'all. Welcome to the show, y'all. It's the Greg Davis Show. We gon' talk the talk, so get ready. We came to push the call, educating. So just lock that down and keep it steady. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Everything is alright. We're gonna help you get your life. It's the Greg Davis Show.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it.
Sin now, prosperity.
It's your girl, Lola George, and we are here on the Greg Davis Show, and what an exciting show we have scheduled for today. But before we get into that, I just want to make sure that everyone knows about our brand new website, the Greg Davis Show website. It's gregdavisshow@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, gregdavisshow.com is the website. Please visit our website. And if you want to watch any of our upcoming shows or shows that we've already recorded, you can always go to the YouTube channel, which is Greg Davis Show. So everything is Greg Davis Show. The email address is gregdavisshow@gmail.com. The website is gregdavisshow.com. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you stay locked in to stay abreast of all of the wonderful things that takes place on the Greg Davis Show. You're probably wondering, where's the great bishop today? Well, he's out being about his father's business, so he's entrusted the show to us. And today I have the honor and esteemed privilege of having, you know what, Kristy Love is here in the building with me, and she will be co-hosting. How are you today?
I am awesome today. How are you?
I am, I'm doing all right. I'm pretty fair for us. I think we are going to have a good show. I'm almost positive we're going to have a good show.
We are.
The young man that we will be introducing to you guys today is someone that I call friend, someone I call mentor, but most importantly, someone that I call brother, and it's none other than Kern Brantley. You may have heard this name before. He is a giant in the music industry. He's played with the likes of the Winans. And I'll just stop right there because as we tell the story, he'll be able to tell you all of the people that he's played for. He hails from the great city of Detroit, born and raised, but you know what? He has an instrument that has changed his life, his outlook on life, and his perspective of life, and we're going to talk about that today. So please help me welcome none other than Kern Brantley. Hey, bro.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
Great, great.
Let's just jump right into it. Tell us, who is Kern Brantley?
Well, I'm a musician from Detroit. A brother to him. I have a very large family, a lot of kids in our family. So just, a musician from Detroit and just born and raised here and just experiencing all the wonderful things here musically.
One of the things that I said to Kristy before the show got started, we was having a small conversation, and I said, you are probably one of the most unassuming young men that I know. And I say that because your humility is breathtaking. You just simply say, I'm just a, young man from the city of Detroit. And it makes it seem as if you're just like this simple guy, but I know better. So you grew up in Detroit. What schools did you go to?
I actually went to school on the east side, Northeastern High School, and then from there we moved to the west side and went to McKenzie for a couple of years, into Wayne State and Henry Ford College.
Okay, and you say you come from a big family. What was that like?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A lot of kids. There was always a lot of activity at our house. We all had a lot of friends, and my mom, she bought a lot of musical instruments, so we always had instruments and drums and keyboards around the house. It was just fun for us to play instruments.
Was your mom into music?
No, she's a school teacher. She taught dance class at school, but she's always been, around music and affiliated with music stuff.
Okay. I know your mom. And you say you guys grew up playing instruments. What type of instruments did you play growing up, or did you have access to as a child?
Well, we had access to drums. There was a lady that had a piano, and she said, "Well, this lady has all these kids." She said, "If you can come and get this piano, I'm moving, and I can't take it with me. You guys can have it." So my mom and 10 kids went to her house, and we didn't have a truck to move the piano because it was like a little upright piano. So we actually walked the piano home. We all just pushed it down the street. And everybody was like, look at these people pushing this piano down the street. But but we got it out of her house, and it was actually...
You said 10 kids. Ooh. So you have 9 brothers and sisters.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. What was it like growing up in the house with 9 other siblings?
it was just always something happening. You know, everybody's waiting to see who got in trouble today, you know, who's going to come home and get, you know, in trouble. But it was actually kind of fun because all my brothers and sisters played instruments too. And we were actually able to switch sometimes we'll play drums or switch to the bass or the guitar. So for us, it was just fun having jam sessions
So
at
was
home.
it like really, really noisy in your house? Your mom
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, all this noise, this
All
too
the
much.
time. All the time, yep.
You know, I had a conversation with your mom probably about a few weeks, maybe a month ago, and I said, what was it like the first time you saw your child play an instrument? And she said, I'm the one that put the instrument in his hands. It wasn't that she forced you, but, you know, she exposed you to the instruments. Which instrument did you initially gravitate to?
Initially, it was the electric guitar.
Okay.
You know, I used to watch Jimi Hendrix on TV, and it was like everybody wanted to be Jimi Hendrix back then. You know, so the guitar was the first thing. But then my brother also played guitar as well, and he wanted to be the lead player, so we both couldn't play lead. So then I switched to the bass.
Did you have lessons, or was this just like an innate ability that you had?
We just would learn by ear. We could listen to the radio and we just kind of hear it. And then I started taking lessons later on. Once I started going to junior high and high school, I started taking music lessons at that point.
How old were you when you first picked up an instrument?
Ooh, man, maybe about 7 or 8.
So at 7 years old, because right now when I visualize your family, you say 10 kids. The first thing that I think about is like the Jacksons, right? Because they had the Jackson 5, and then then they had all, you know, they had all of these kids, and everybody, if you didn't sing, you played an instrument, you danced, you did something. So now I see that I'm hearing you say, you know, all of your siblings, y'all played something.
Yeah.
And at 7 years old, you pick up a guitar, and you kind of thumb your way through it and kind of fill in the groove, and kind of like that is, people say either you have it or you don't. And you see little children, when they gravitate to certain instruments, it's like you need to pay attention to what they're doing, because they have something. Because who could just pick up a guitar and just get the string?
No musical book, no nothing.
Yeah, that's how. Yep, and it's because for us as kids, it's fun because you're hearing a sound and you're making something happen. You're creating a sound. So to you, you're just making these funny sounds and hitting on stuff. So it's kind of like a fun thing to do. So I just look at it as like, this is a lot of fun, just making these sounds.
Who are some of your, I know you said you guys listen to the radio and stuff like that, so what were some of your musical influences back then? Like when you were thinking about creating something, like, oh, I want to be like so-and-so when I play the guitar. So what were some of those influences?
Well, definitely Motown, of course. You know, growing up in Detroit, we were hearing Motown, so I kind of gravitated to the bass, because the bass, James Jamerson, who was a famous bassist from Detroit, his sound was so dominating on all these songs like My Girl and Standing in the Shadow of Love and all these songs. So you always would hear this bass. So I started gravitating to the sound of Motown records, the bass, and then from there gravitating to more to Parliament, Funkadelic, that kind of stuff. And then of course my influences in gospel music. Just listening to all the great musicians around Detroit that play gospel.
Growing up in school, did you have anyone that saw something special in you and decided to take you under their wing and kind of help teach you the way?
It's definitely, my mentor was the late Thomas Whitfield.
Come on,
the
church.
maestro.
Come on, church.
And see, Thomas Whitfield, he's a visionary. He was the kind of guy that he'll see it. When I first met him, he didn't think I could play at all, because they just like looked at me and I was like, hey, I play the bass, and I want to. And he's like, well, bring your bass to my office tomorrow and we'll see. So I came to school. I came to his office the next day with this great big amplifier and all this equipment and stuff. Plugged it up in his office. He's sitting there like, okay, he done brought all this stuff. What is he gonna do? So I played, and then Tommy just kind of just stopped and like, oh my goodness. So, you know, and it was really funny because he introduced me to Marvin Winans, and Marvin said the same thing. Marvin was like, this guy don't look like he can play nothing. So, but then after I played, then next thing I started recording with the Winans and became their musical director as well. So Tommy, he taught me more than music, he taught me business too. He taught me about, you know, publishing, copyrights, how to protect my songs, you know, how to be a professional as far as coming on time and how to present the music. So I learned a lot. He was not to just me, but all the musicians, I think, in Detroit was kind of influenced by Thomas Whitfield.
You know, Thomas Whitfield, although God rest his soul, he has gone on to be with the Lord, his sound, his influence is still alive today.
Oh yes, definitely.
Some umpteen years later. I mean, it was almost as if he was before his time. So during your tenure and your time playing with Thomas Whitfield, you know, sometimes you don't realize the giants you're with when you're with them. And then once they're gone, it's like, oh my God, like I was with Thomas Whitfield. Like, how did you feel during that time playing with Thomas Whitfield?
Wow. Well, he taught me discipline. So with Tommy, because he was also an educator as well, so he taught us, like if you listen to any of those earlier records, you notice the musicians were very disciplined. It wasn't a lot of random playing.
Right.
So he taught us, so you know, he kind of let us, he was like funny with it. He'll laugh and make a joke, but he'll also kind of make sure that you're playing the right part. Like he's like, oh, that note is really flat, you know, and everybody would start laughing, but it was flat. You know, we had to fix it. So he kind of schooled us, and he had so many other great musicians and artists around him as well. You know, Vanessa Bell Armstrong.
Yeah. Good. No, these are gospel giants. And one of the things that I think a lot of musicians and singer-songwriters alike here in the city of Detroit, we take for granted the influence that we had because of Motown, the influence we had because of the gospel industry, because a lot of the giants were right here. And you know, at any given Sunday, you can go see this person at that church, this person at that church. Yeah. But like you said, he taught you so much. He taught you the business. He taught you the discipline. What advice would you give young musicians that's starting out, that's trying to become a part of the music industry?
To definitely learn, you know, as much as they can about their instrument, first of all, because it all starts with the actual instrument and your playing and your musical skills and ability. So to perfect that craft first, and then from there to move on and learn the business side of the music, because it's also a music, and then it's a whole business side that really has nothing to do with the music, the creative side of it. So it's kind of our job to learn the music and learn the instrument and play it as well as possible.
I have a question. I know for me, I find inspirations maybe like going on walks and things like that. So for you, with playing music, what are some inspirations that just things that inspire you? Like maybe it's going for a walk, or listening to some music or things like that. What's inspiration? Well,
listening to other music, and then sometimes just kind of like music is kind of like the way you feel inside. Right. So if you're a happy person, like I had the privilege of working with Earl Clue, who's also another jazz giant from Detroit. When I graduated from high school, I had a chance to audition and tour to Japan with his band. Mm-hmm. And Earl's a nice person, and you can hear it in his music. So it's kind of, I learned that your personality kind of reflects what comes out of you musically, the sounds and the type of direction you and the atmosphere that you set musically. So I would just always try to have fun. So a lot of my music is really fun, kind of playful, kind of orientated music,
All right. This has been a great conversation. When we come back, we're going to talk about how did that bass guitar change the landscape of your life? How has it opened up doors and sent you to places that the average man just simply couldn't go? You're watching The Greg Davis Show. We'll be right back right after this.
How I Did It. Pick up this life-changing book today by Bishop Greg Davis.
Bishop Davis shares his amazing story of dramatic weight loss,
overcoming diabetes,
and his new journey to healthy living without surgery, dieting, or medication.
How I Did It. An incredible weight loss story captured in less than 50 pages.
It tells the bishop's testimony of his lifestyle change after being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in April 2010.
In less than 8 months, he lost over 80 pounds and was completely healed of diabetes.
To date, he has lost over 110 pounds and feels phenomenal.
How I Did It by Bishop Davis.
A personal testimony requested by people all over the country.
He did it, and so can you. Order your copy now
on Amazon.com
or send a seed of $25, which includes shipping and handling too.
Greg Davis Ministry, P.O. Box 44072, Detroit, Michigan 48244.
That's Greg Davis Ministry, P.O. Box 44072, Detroit, Michigan 48244.
Bishop Greg Davis Ministries present Let the Healing Begin to the best of Bishop Greg Davis. And today is your day for a miracle. 3 powerful anointed healing and meditation CDs by Bishop Davis. The Word of God says that if you decree a thing, it shall be established for your sake.
Isaiah 58 and 8.
Everyone who comes in contact with these 3 powerful CDs will receive a life-changing experience. Order your copy right now on iTunes, CD Baby, or Amazon. Or you can send a seed, a donation of $50, and receive all 3 healing and meditation CDs. To Greg Davis Ministries, P.O. Box 44072, Detroit, Michigan 48244. Shipping and handling included. Download or order all 3 copies today and let the healing begin.
You're back and you're tuned into the Greg Davis Show. I just want to remind everyone, make sure you listen to us every morning from 8 to 9:30 a.m. The Greg Davis Radio Show. Myself and Bishop Greg Davis, you know we like to have ourselves a good time. Make sure you download our apps. Download the Greg Davis app, download Lola George app, and make sure you follow us on all social media. But then most importantly, don't forget to visit the website, GregDavisShow.com. Make sure you visit the website, GregDavisShow.com. We've been talking with Kern Brantley, and now we're going to talk about how did the bass guitar change the landscape of your life. I say that because, you know, it's been times that I'll try to call you or I'll try to reach, and I can't reach you because you're just not in the country. And I'm like, where you at? And you come back and you tell me about all of these wonderful things. But earlier you said that Thomas Whitfield was the first person that you played for. Giant, like your first gig is with Thomas Whitfield. And then second, you say he introduced you to Marvin Winans and you had an opportunity to be the MD for the Winans. Who else have you worked for?
Well, it's like a networking thing. After being introduced to Marvin Winans and Twinkie Clark, it was kind of like the whole Clark Winans, that whole era. You know, I had a chance to work with Twinkie and the Clark sisters and Marvin at the same time. After that, Marvin Winans did a record with Teddy Riley and Guy called It's Time to Make That Change. When we did that record, we went to New York and we were performing at the Apollo. At that point, I met Teddy and Guy. So about a week, so I get a call, and it's from Teddy Riley, and he wants to know, you know, would I be interested in going on tour with Guy? So I was like, sure, yeah. So he flies me to New York. I go to New York. So that led to the whole opening up in New York. Once I got to New York, with Teddy, I was able to meet Bobby Brown. Teddy introduced me to Keith Sweat. So I worked with Teddy, Bobby, Keith Sweat, the whole New Jack Swing era. We were a part of that whole sound. And then that went on to meeting Mary J. Blige. And then Mary introduced me to Puffy. And then Puffy introduced me to Will Smith and Jay-Z and LL Cool J, and I recorded with them. So it's all like a stepping stone, and it all kind of just snowballed from there. From all the work in New York that we did, I came back home to Detroit, and my neighbor, who was Aaliyah, because her dad was the tour manager for the Winans, he said, my daughter's got this record coming out. It's called Back and Forth. She just did this record with R. Kelly, da-da-da. She wants you to hear it. We listened to it. I said, girl, you got a hit. And she said, well, you got to go on the tour with me, my first tour. So I was Aaliyah's first musical director when I got home after the Mary tour. And then that snowballed into other opportunities, you know, with Genuine and different artists. So it's kind of all a stepping stone. From all that, back at home, I get another call, and it was from Beyonce. And then from Beyonce, we worked with her for 3 years. Then she asked us to do the Destiny Child. During the break of the Destiny Child album, doing a rehearsal, I met Chris Brown, and then from Chris to Neo. So it's all a snowball effect.
That's so dark. I know it. I just want the world to know.
So so the bass, I always tell my brother, I say I can ride the bass like it's a motorcycle.
Yes, sir, you can.
And just ride it around the whole world.
Yeah.
We've last year with Gaga, we went to every
with
continent.
Who? I'm sorry, don't just slip that. Go on and talk to the people. Go on and talk to the people. With who?
Oh yeah, last year. Well, I've been playing bass guitar and band director, band leader for Lady Gaga for the past 5 years or so.
You say how many years?
5 now, yep. I started in 2010 with her.
I just want the people to hear. Okay.
And that tour has been one tour which we actually went to every country almost in the world. Maybe 65 countries we visited, all over South America, Africa, Asia, all over Europe, United States, and Canada. And then a couple other places like I've never, we played in Peru, and we played in, what's this place, Bogota or something like that, Bogota, Colombia. So it was places that I never imagined to go on to Colombia.
Right, because I was just going to say, how to describe that feeling, how does it feel where you hear about like all these places, I would love to go there one day, and then you just get that phone call like, hey, we're going to Peru.
Yeah.
Like, describe that feeling and just being able to be in a different country and see the different cultures and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, it's a great feeling, and then, it's like a paid vacation in a way.
Right.
Like last year, I never imagined going to Israel, and when we got there, everybody saying, okay, we're going to go take a trip to Jerusalem and walk down, that stone, so it was cool just to be there. And then we were also in another, it was in Turkey. So we were right there on the Black Sea, and so they took us out on a yacht, and we all right there at where Asia and Europe kind of meets, right in that one little area over in Istanbul. So it was just mad. It was like, these are places you read about or see on TV, and then actually be there. And we always visit the different restaurants. And in Brazil, Gaga, she went through the place where they made City of Gods, where she was giving away clothes and shoes to the kids and stuff like that. Homeless kids over there in South America. So it was kind of cool. We had a great time.
All of this because you had a passion and desire to play the bass. And not just a passion and desire to play it, but to play it at a level of excellence. You have single-handedly opened the door for so many musicians here, not just in the state of Michigan, but across the country. But it's because when preparation meets opportunity, they're ready.
Exactly.
Talk about preparation meeting opportunity.
Well, it's always best if you're always ready, you never have to get ready. So one thing I learned for Tommy is to always kind of pre-prepare. Like, if I know I have a rehearsal, I don't want to learn the songs at rehearsal. I want to learn the songs at home. So when I walk into those rehearsals, I already know the parts. I already know which sounds I'm using. I'm familiar with, all the chord changes. So I always advise musicians to prepare yourself for every step, from everywhere from your attire to your equipment to your transportation and communication, getting there, and also getting along with everybody there. So it's almost everything is a pre-production. Like, even when you go in the studio, you have to do some homework before you actually go in there and work under the clock. Because once that clock starts ticking, money's being spent. So you kind of want to get prepared. So I always advise people to get a lot of prep work in as much as possible.
We had a conversation before, and I remember asking you about when you auditioned for the Gaga gig. And, you've been around for over 20 years in the music industry. And it's always a new musician coming behind you. And the key is, what separates you from the next musician that's coming into that same audition right after you? And you said you dressed for the part, you looked the part, you didn't just, because you skilled, you can play, but talk about dressing for the part. Because if I'm going to play, or I aspire to be a singer, right? I'm gonna drop a single one day. They ain't ready. I'm gonna drop a single one day. But if I am aspiring to play for a Marvin Winans or something like that, I shouldn't go looking like I'm getting ready to go play for Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Talk about that, because there's some young people that's watching, because I have a nephew that's like, Auntie, and I'm like, boy, you got to do the work. I know the people, but I can't just say, here. No, you got to do the work. Talk about that part.
Yeah, well, you should definitely study the artists that you're going to audition for and kind of go to their website, look at some of their influences, read whatever videos or interviews that they may have done. But what really, for me, was I had an audition with Janet Jackson, and it was for the Rhythm Nation tour. Wow. So I'm like, wow, I got this audition in California with Janet Jackson. You know, so I went like dressed like Sunday's best. Like I was about to go play at Second Ave. I had my church shoes on.
Clean.
And when I got there, everybody had on tight jeans and earrings and makeup, and I was like, ooh. And that wasn't, I had a different look. I was looking like I was about to play, you know, at the praise service, and that wasn't that. So I learned right there, I said, I should have done my homework. I should have came in there like in some motorcycle stuff, you know, maybe some leather jacket, kind of vibe. And so I learned from that experience that each audition I go to, I find out what the vibe of the act is. 'Cause they almost want to see you as if you're about to perform at your audition. That is your performance. What would this person look like on stage with Madonna? Or what would this person look like on stage with Beyonce? So you kind of got to take a little homework as far as finding out, you know, the look and the criteria of each act, 'cause everybody's different.
You and I, we always got something in the works, and we were just talking before the show started. What's next and what's coming up for Kern?
Okay, well, right now I'm working with the Detroit Pistons Corporate House Band, and we're the band that plays the music during the halftime show and when people are coming in. So I've been working on that, and I'm also teaching a master class at DIME, which is Detroit Institute of Music Education downtown, the new music college. So I do a master class on touring and auditioning, teaching kids how to prepare for a major tour, what to expect out there, how to carry themselves on the road. And then I recently got a call to be the musical director for the Motor City tribute to Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
So there's going to be a citywide tribute to Stevie Wonder. They're going to be naming Stevie Wonder Boulevard, street after Stevie, and they're also opening the Stevie Wonder Youth Center and School of Music here in Detroit. So I'm going to be a part of that whole process.
I got to put my name in there somewhere. Lola George
yes.
going to be the master of every ceremony or something. You know what?
What's some, I know you said you teach down at DIME, and I've been to that school a couple of times. What's some advice that you give your students, or that you would give anybody out there that's ready to start their music career and that's ready to start touring and auditioning with different artists?
Well, I always tell my guys, first of all, keep your hands clean as far as you have to be able to travel, which means you have to have a passport, which means you can't get a passport if you have any blemishes where you can't leave the state or you can't leave the city. So I always tell them, make sure that you're able to travel. If you can't go to Canada, if you can't go to Japan, 9 times out of 10 they kind of use you on the tour because you have to be free to travel around the world. So that's one main thing I let people know, and to make sure that they arrive on time. Time is like we got an 8 o'clock flight, be there 2 hours early.
Yep.
It's because everybody else is waiting. We can't wait on one person when you got 20 other people all have to perform that evening. So being on time and just, being as professional as possible.
You've been watching, it's been Kern Brantley. His information is down at the bottom of the screen. It's the Greg Davis Show. We're out.
Hey, I'm Greg Davis, and over 3 years ago, I started posting tweets and posts on When the Right One Comes. Well, I tried to stop, but they wouldn't let me stop. So everybody's been asking me to write a book, When the Right One Comes. So I've taken all of my collections of When the Right One Comes, and I'm putting them in one book. You can pre-order the book right now by going to gregdavisshow@gmail.com. That's gregdavisshow@gmail.com. Order now, When the Right One Comes.